This is the 2024 Higher Level Maths Leaving Cert Paper 2, question 9. Amina, Petro and Fiak are taking part in an adventure race. The coordinate diagram below shows part of the course for this race. Each unit on the diagram represents 100 meters. So let's see, part A, we've got the arc in the diagram represents part of a stream. So this is the stream here. The arc is part of a circle S with center 117 and radius 12. Write the equation of the circle. Okay, so the equation of a circle is x minus h to be squared plus y minus k to be squared is equal to r squared. Again, you can get that from your tables. So h and k are the center coordinates. So it's just going to be x minus 1 to be squared plus y minus 17 to be squared is equal to, or the radius is 12, so we've got to square that, and that's 144. Okay, so that was easy enough for the first part of that question. Let's have a look at part 2. Amina is at the point A8 on the stream on the circle S, where A is real and A is positive. Work out the value of A, give your answer in surd form. Okay, so we have the equation of the circle. It's x minus 1 to be squared plus y minus 17 to be squared is equal to 144. We know that Amina is at the point A8 on the circle, so all we got to do is put in A instead of x and put in 8 instead of y. Work all this out, solve for A, and that should work for us. So here we get A squared minus 2A plus 1. Plus, here we have 9 is the difference, so it's 9 squared, which is 81. It's plus because it's squared, and then we have 144 over here. Let's just bring everything over to one side. We've got a squared minus 2a, then it's plus 1 plus 81 minus 144, so that's minus 62 is equal to 0. Now, this particular one we can't factorize as such, so we've got to use the minus b formula, quadratic formula. So it's, again, a is 1, b is minus 2, c is minus 62. So a is going to be equal to minus b, so 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So minus 2 squared minus 4 times a times c all over twice a. So you can mess around with that yourselves, and you will just get a is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 252 over 2. Now we are asked to find the value of a, give your answer in surd form. So if we take the plus value here, we'll get a positive a. If we actually take the minus value of the square root of 252, we'll end up with a negative number, so we don't use that. So our answer then in surd form, if you just stick that into your calculator, the plus version, so the answer then is just a is equal to 1 plus 3 root 7. Okay, let's move on to the next section. So Petro is at the point P, which is 10, 6. Work out the shortest distance from the point P to the stream, the circle S. Give your answer correct to the nearest meter. Remember that each unit on the diagram represents 100 meters. Okay, so I might just copy the diagram down again. Okay, so this is the diagram again. So we have Petro is here, and we've got to work out the shortest distance that Petro could possibly be from the stream. Let's say here. Now if we take a straight line down along here, it's roughly straight anyway. This here is the radius, and we know the radius is 12. All we've got to do is work out the distance between C and P, subtract 12, and that'll give us our distance here. So let's work on that then. So the distance between C and P is equal to the square root of, remember we have our 2 points here, C is 117 and P is 10, 6. So let's call these x1, y1, x2, y2. Put them into our formula for the distance between 2 points. So it's x2, which is 10, minus x1, which is 1 to be squared, plus y2, which is 6, minus y1, which is 17 to be squared. Now, if you just work all of that out, what you'll end up with is the square root of 202. So let's just subtract then. That's the distance, remember, that's this distance here from C to P. So the distance then that petrol would be from the stream would be the square root of 202 minus 12. If you do that, you get 2.2126 and so on. Now remember that it asks for the distance, and it reminds us that each unit in the diagram represents 100 meters. So our answer would be, multiply this by 100, 221, and we have to give our answer to the nearest meter. So that's it, just 221 meters. Okay, so that's part 3 done. Let's have a look at part B here. The diagram, oh, this is the original diagram again. Okay, there is a straight path L that is not shown on the diagram. L is parallel to the y-axis and is a tangent to the stream S in the first quadrant. Write down the equation of the path L. Remember that the radius is 12. So they keep reminding us about this radius. But basically, if we were to draw that, it would look maybe something like this. So you got to find the equation. Now the equation of vertical lines are going to be x is equal to something, because all the coordinates on that line will have the same x value, whatever this x value here is. So we've got to remember here that this distance here from the y-axis to C is 1 unit. The radius from here to here is 12 units. So this coordinate here, if you like, on our vertical line is going to be 13, 0. So the equation then of, what do they call it, L is x is equal to 13. It's as simple as that. Okay, next one. The line segment W represents a road where W has the equation x minus 3y is equal to 9, y is between 0 and 8. Find the coordinates of the point on the road W that is closest to the point P, which is 10, 6. It might be useful to find the equation of the line through P that is perpendicular to W. So let me just put the diagram down here again. So we're talking about W, which is this road here, and the equation of that is x minus 3y is equal to 9. Find the coordinates of the point on the road W that is closest to the point. So we want to find, we drop a perpendicular down here, we want to find this point here, coordinates of that point. So they give us a hint here. They say it might be useful to find the equation of the line through P that is perpendicular to W. So let's look at W first of all. W has equation x minus 3y minus 9 is equal to 0. So the slope of W is just going to be equal to minus a over b. In this case, it's minus 1. This is the a here, the coefficient of x, over b, which is minus 3, so that's 1/3. So the slope of W is 1/3, so the slope of a perpendicular line is, turn this upside down, change the sign, it's going to be minus 3. So we now have the slope of this line here, and we have a point on the line, so we can find the equation of that line. So the reason we're doing that is so that if we have the equation of that line, this line here, we have the equation of this line here, we can do simultaneous equations to find the point of intersection. So that'll give us the coordinates of this point here, which is what we're looking for. So let's do that. We've got the equation of our line is going to be y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. So we have y minus, the point on the line is 10, 6, so it's going to be 6 here. The slope we found out is minus 3. It's going to be x minus 10. So, okay, let's just simplify that. We got y minus 6 is equal to minus 3x plus 30. So we've got 3x plus y minus 36 equal to 0. So this is our second line there. So I'll call that equation 1, and I'll call line W equation 2. Remember, W had equation x minus 3y minus 9 equal to 0. So this is equation 2, let's call it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equation 1 and I'm going to multiply it by 3. So if I do that, I'll get 9x plus 3y minus 108 is equal to 0. Just going to add equations 1 and 2 now. these two equations here. So I'll get 10x, the y's will cancel, and I'll end up with minus 117 is equal to 0. So I have my x here now. So x, well, 10x is going to be equal to 117, so x is going to be equal to 11.7. That's my x value. Let's put it into one of the equations to find the y value. So let's take x minus 3y minus 9 equal to 0. This is equation 2. And I'm going to stick in the 11.7. So 11.7 minus 3y minus 9 equal to 0. So that'll give me minus 3y is equal to 9 minus 11.7. Minus 3y is equal to minus 2.7. Y is equal to 0.9. Okay, so that's it. We have our x and y. I think that's all we were asked for. Let me just double check. Find the coordinates of the point on the road W that is closest to the point P. So that's it. So my answer then again is, x is 11.7 and y is 0.9. Okay, so this is part D. Fiach is at the point 90 on the road W. So again, let me just put this down here. So Fiach is at the point 90 on the road W. She travels 1200 meters along the road W away from the point F in the first quadrant and then stops. Work out the coordinates of the point at which she stops. Give each value correct to one decimal place. Remember that each unit on the diagram represents 100 meters. Okay, so she's going to start here because she starts on the road W and the coordinates where she starts are 90, so this must be 90 here. So she travels up along the road, let's say to this point here, and that is 1200 meters, which is 12 units. I'm going to divide by 100 here and just use 12 units. So we start with 90, and I'm going to make a triangle here, and I'm going to call this angle here theta. So really what I want to work out is the value of x here and the value of y. If I can do that, that'll give me the coordinates of the point where she stops. So what do we know about this line here? We know that the slope of the line, the slope is equal to 1 over 3, 1/3. And that's the same as the tan. The tan of my angle theta is 1 over 3. So the angle itself is tan inverse 1 over 3. If I got tan inverse 1 over 3 on my calculator, that'll give me the angle theta. I'm going to write down then the cos and the sine of this angle here. This is just an angle. So if I take the cos of, I could work this out on my calculator, but I'll just leave it as it is. Tan inverse 1 over 3 is equal to x over 12. And similarly, the sine of my angle, the sine of tan inverse 1 over 3 is equal to y over 12. So they're my x and y's now. So all I've got to do here, multiply across by 12. So I've got 12 cos of my angle, tan inverse 1 over 3 is equal to x, and 12 times sine tan inverse 1 over 3 is equal to y. So my x value will be, and my y value will be, my x value will be 11.3841 and so on. My y value will be 3.79473 and so on. Now, just got to be a little bit careful here. You've got to remember that I've worked out this distance here, but that's not the x-coordinate, this x-coordinate here. I've got to add another 9. Remember, we're out here 9, and I've just worked out the x, so we've got to add x to 9. So that means the x-coordinate then will be 11 plus 9, which is 20.3841, and so on. And my y-coordinate will be 3.79473, and so on. They're my coordinates there. Now it says in the question, let me just read the question again. Work out the coordinates of the point at which she stops. Give each value correct to one decimal place. Now they're looking for coordinates here, so I'm assuming they want the coordinates, the actual distances divided by 100 rather than the actual distance, the coordinates in terms of distance. So I'm going to leave it like this, but I've got to just round it to one decimal place. So my answer will be 20.4 and 3.8. If they wanted the actual distance, you'd have to multiply this by 100 and this by 100, but I'm assuming that this is what they want here. Okay, so that's it for this question.